everybody. I'm Andy Bozarth, Outreach and Advocacy Director here at AARP Kansas. Welcome to the Coffee Chat. Today I'm joined by Kansas State Treasurer Lynn Rogers, who's going to talk about some of the programs that the Treasurer's Office has available to people. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. This has been a great series. I've learned a lot about what the Treasurer's Office does and what you have to offer. And I really appreciate you taking time to talk to all of our audience on what the Treasurer's Office does and has available.
Well, thank you for having us, because there's some great things that we can offer Kansans, and we feel like when we come to work every day, we're serving Kansans, and we want to make sure they know about what's available. So
that's great. I really appreciate you, and you've done a great job explaining everything so far in our series. And today we're going to talk about several different things. And the first one is the ABLE account. And can you tell me a little bit about what an ABLE account actually is?
Well, last week we talked about the Learning Quest 529 accounts for higher education, and this is what's called a 529A account. It's part of the same tax code, but it was designed for folks with a disability to be able to put money aside for living expenses, for education expenses, for a variety of things that they can use. Many times folks with a disability are receiving Social Security or Medicaid, and if they do that, they can't have more than $2,000 in assets in a checking account. The ABLE account was established by Congress to allow those individuals to put money aside. It's after tax, but it basically allows them to have assets of up to $100,000, and it doesn't affect their Social Security or their Medicaid benefits.
Wow, that's really a benefit to somebody who has a disability. And I'm going to use an example of a friend of mine who has a child who's an adult child now with Down syndrome.
Oh, wow.
And she's very familiar with this program and utilizes it. And she talked about that, about how she worries about what's going to happen to her son when she's not there to take care of him.
You know, many parents feel that way and have that concern, you know, as their child ages. And you know, this account really allows them to put some money aside for them for that reason. You know, someone else can also serve as the administrator to assist them if the disability is so severe that they can't handle it themselves. You know, you can put up to $15,000 a year after tax dollars into this account for up to and everything from $100,000. You know, doesn't affect their Social Security. If it's over, then it could be taken into consideration. The earnings are tax-free, and when they're pulled out, you know, if it's used for the proper living expenses and authorized expenses, then there's no tax impact to the individual there as well. So right now, the only limitation is that the disability has to be something that occurs before the age of 26. So there's about 92,000 Kansans that are eligible. We don't have that many accounts. We'd love to get more, but we're hoping that that'll expand soon.
That's great. And with all of these people out there who are listening and thinking about setting up an account, what can the money from the account be used for?
There's a wide variety of things, and we've got that information on our website under the ABLE school savings account programs. But it would include living expenses, so apartment rent, utilities, education expenses, tuition and fees, you know, even medical expenses. There's quite a few things that would count for living expenses for an individual to use. Many people use this account. They have their $2,000 in a regular savings, but they're able to put others away. For instance, right now, whenever everybody getting that $1,400 stimulus check, if that isn't spent in 12 months and it puts them over the $2,000, that could really put them into a difficult spot. They could open an ABLE account and take more than just the 12 months to spend that kind of money. So so there's if there's windfalls, and actually even if someone that's disabled, we have that $15,000 a year limit of what can be contributed. The other good thing is if that disabled individual is working, they can put some of those earnings in on top of the 15,000 that someone else would put in.
Wow. So talking about eligibility, I know it's National Autism Awareness Month, and I have a family member who's on the spectrum of autism. So would somebody with autism qualify for this?
They would. Yeah. They would have to, we'd have to have a doctor's, diagnosis that they're eligible from something that does that. And again, as long as any of the disabilities occur before the age of 26, they would qualify. There's currently a bill in Congress, both the House and the Senate, and our own Senator Jerry Moran is one of the co-sponsors to expand that to a disability of age 46. So that would actually allow more people, particularly individuals that might get a severe brain injury after they're an adult. So there's a lot of different ways that can be expanded as well.
That would be great. And if somebody wanted to support that bill, how would they do that? Would they contact Senator Moran?
I would encourage them to do that, to talk to Jerry Moran's office, and then the other thing I think I would do as well is call your congressperson, your congressional member of Congress, and encourage them to sponsor it as well. This bill was introduced in the last session, and many of our Kansas delegations approved it or supported it, and we're just needing them to sign on now in the House side of Congress as well. So I would encourage them to call both their congressmen and their senators to support it.
To support the ABLE program.
Right. Yeah, yes. It's the ABLE Act, Adjustment Act, so it's the AAA. So.
Okay, that's great information. And for those of you just joining us, I'm Andy Bozarth, Outreach and Advocacy Director for AARP Kansas. I'm joined by State Treasurer Lynn Rogers, and we are discussing the ABLE Act, the Scholarshop, and Work and Save program today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put those into the chat, and I'm sure that Treasurer Rogers would be happy to answer those questions. So I think we've covered a little bit about the ABLE program. So can you tell me what the Scholarshop is?
Well, this is a very exciting program that we offer in partnership with Sallie Mae. Sallie Mae is the student loan guarantee program for the federal government. And it's a website that an individual can go in and register for, put a variety of information in, and see what kinds of scholarships are available really from throughout the country. I think there's over $30 million worth of scholarships that are available through this website.
That's incredible. Now, is this only for bachelor's level programs, or is it for other programs?
It would be for any type of program, graduate school, vocational school, and for regular college. We encourage kids that are and family members that have juniors and seniors to start the process as early as they can, and then again, an adult that is working and wants to go back and do a graduate degree of some kind, they can register as well. There probably aren't as many scholarships available for graduate school. That tends to be more on the undergraduate side, but we have found some individuals that have found scholarships for their graduate programs.
And if somebody was interested in finding a scholarship, where would they go?
They can go to our website, kansasstatetreasure.com, and we've got a link to that under our services program. They can also go directly to the website. It's salliemae.com/Kansas, and Sally is SALLIE, and May is MAE.com. And they'll plug in their name. They have to register, and so they'll put in their name and email address, and then they'll ask a series of questions about, what is it? What program are you trying to go after for higher ed? Are you going to be an engineer or pre-law? they might ask you, are you a cancer survivor? There's a number of different things that you can put into this website. If your parents are a member of a fraternal organization or a union or a particular church denomination, and then it'll sort that information and see if there are scholarships that you could qualify for. And it'll come up with a list of dozens, 10 to 12 to dozens that might be available. One of my assistants found one. He's looking at graduate school, and it actually was one from a hot tub company in another state that wanted, if for a 1,000-word essay on hot tubs, he could possibly qualify for $1,000 scholarship. So, the website itself, after you find the scholarship, it'll give you what the website address is for that scholarship. You can go directly to that scholarship website, find out what the requirements are, if it's an essay or if it's an application. But it gives the student a lot of tools that they can use, and they can obtain money that would go right to their tuition bill, and they wouldn't even have to access their 529 Learning Quest account for that money.
That's incredible. And who knew that a hot tub company would be giving out scholarships? That's amazing.
Well, and I think that's what's so unique about this program is that, scholarships register with Sallie Mae, let them know that it's available, and they put it on the website. If you were going to try to find those scholarships, you could probably do that by Googling it, but you'd almost have to know about it. And so this gives you access to a lot of things in a much easier and more better use of your time, so that you can go on to other things.
That's great. I really appreciate knowing that. The scholarships that are available would be, it'd be much easier to find them in one location at Scholarshop than it would be to try to go out and Google all of them.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you could even find them. And that's why I think what we really encourage, why we want people to know about it, is we want even grandparents and aunts and uncles to tell their younger family members that this is available so that they can take advantage of it. And we would love to see some of these dollars come into Kansas, that Kansas has the opportunity, kids to claim that money as well.
That's great. And talking about dollars coming into Kansas and being spent in Kansas, after somebody goes and gets their education and they're living here in Kansas, one of the issues is that a lot of places don't have ways to save money for retirement.
Right.
And so what can we do, or how many people, I guess maybe that's the question I want to ask, is how many people in Kansas who are working lack a vehicle to saving for retirement?
Well, I've heard some stats on that here recently that, 55% of all Americans do not have access to a retirement account through their employer, which means only about 4.5 out of 10 of us do. And then one of the other statistics I heard was that 25% of Americans have a retirement account, which means 75% of us don't. And so there's a real disconnect. The three most important things that people save for is higher education for their kids, a down payment for a house, and for their retirement. And I encourage people, from a financial stability standpoint, is that you need to be putting money into all three of those so that you're ready to go. The vast majority of Americans will not have money in addition to their Social Security with the way it looks right now. And so that's going to put seniors at a great risk, and even the state budget, because those individuals will need more state services and things of that nature. So when I became state treasurer, I was introduced to the Work and Save program that the AARP has sponsored in a number of other states, and was starting the work here in the Kansas legislature. And I was thrilled to be able to help support it and want to see that work. We've done some checking with other states, and it's just fascinating to see what they're doing and what difference it's making.
Oh, it's a wonderful program, and it has been very successful in many other states. Can you tell me a little bit about how implementing a Work and Save auto auto IRA, because the Work and Save program is an auto IRA. How does that work?
Well, what would happen is the state treasurer would offer that type of retirement savings to all employers and their employees if they didn't already offer some kind of a retirement account. So if you're employee, you were an employee at a factory and they offered a retirement or 401k, that company would not have to participate. But what we found, like in Oregon, they offer it to all businesses that don't have one, and they have almost 100,000 people that are now saving for retirement, and almost 100 million in assets from that state, and that's money that will be available to those individuals at retirement. So if it was a small business, perhaps a restaurant, where people were working part-time, the business would offer a payroll deduction where that employee could take $5 or $10, and then that employer would send it to us, and we would deposit it into that employee's account, and those funds would grow. They would get a tax deduction from both their federal and their state tax income for making an IRA contribution, and then the earnings would be tax-free until age 59 and a half, and they could start pulling it out at that point in time. When I first started in the banking world 30, 40 years ago, the IRA was just starting. And the bank I was working for, we offered direct deposit IRAs to businesses. And there was one woman who had never saved a dime in her life. And at the end of the year, I talked with her and she said, she had, at $25 a paycheck, she had finally saved up about $500. And she was so proud of herself that she had done that. Well, if she'd continued to do that through the life of those 30, 40 years, she'd have $200,000 for retirement. Right. And, that will really make a difference in somebody's lifestyle. If they can supplement their IRA or their Social Security by $500 to $1,000 a month, it will really make a difference for how well they live, their health, that they can afford medical expenses, those kinds of things. So I think it's a great opportunity. It fits whether you're red or blue, Republican or Democrat. It serves people, and ultimately I think it will reduce the cost to the state of Kansas for services to our senior residents.
I agree with you. The Work and Save program is really it's been very beneficial to workers and to employers, because my dad was a small business owner, and one of the things he always wanted to offer was the benefits of healthcare and retirement savings.
Yeah.
And that was something that would attract great employees, and that is a benefit. So are businesses saying, yes, we support this, we'd like to offer it to our employees?
Well, we want to take some more time, and a bill has been introduced, but it hasn't gone anywhere because of other legislative priorities. But we have heard from some businesses that like it. It takes the administrative cost and the administrative headache away from the business, and all they have to do is send us a wire or an ACH each payday. And we would provide the materials for them, to offer it to their employees. So I think it really would be beneficial. And as you say, it's an extra benefit for working at that place. And again, I think if employees are stable, that's a benefit to the employer as well. That the employee will stay at that business, because if they may get a pay raise somewhere else for nickel an hour, but if they don't offer the retirement plan, they might say, I'm going to stick with what I've got here. So I think there's a lot of great benefits for employers, for employees, and for the community at large.
And is it hard for the employer? Do they have to do a lot to get enrolled? And
they really won't. We would set them up on a automatic system, and their payroll system would interact with our system, and it would just go over automatically. They would have to offer some kind of an enrollment option to their employees and explain it to new employees, but they would have all of that done pretty easily. And we would even offer a lot of online services to explain the program, and they could just send them to a website to go from there. It's a lot like what we're doing with our Learning Quest programs, where we have an outside group that does the investments and manages it professionally and keeps the fees as low as possible so that the employee can put as much in and keep as much in the account as they can.
That's a really great program. Now, if you said that there were a lot of seniors that only live on Social Security, and do you know what that number is approximately?
I was trying to remember that. I don't believe. Let me see. I've got it here. It's much bigger than we think. About 22% of seniors in Kansas rely on Social Security only. And that's a sizable chunk. So if we can put this retirement program in place and reduce that, in 20, 30 years, that can make a big impact. So.
Oh, it would make a huge impact in reducing the number of people who only live on Social Security income alone. I think that a vehicle to save is really important. And one of the things that all research has shown is that people are much more likely to save money if it comes out of their check before they even see it. And
Exactly.
That's what the Work and Save program does.
Yeah, all the years I've been in banking, and even my own experience, if you got a pay raise, you could bump that up a little bit. That's the nice thing with this Work and Save is you can start, small, $10 a paycheck, and then ultimately as you progress in your career, you can bump that up. I believe you can do about $6,000 a year in an IRA and a Roth IRA, and so it doesn't have to be the full amount. And again, I think even commercial bankers, financial institutions won't object to this program because these are customers, these are individuals that don't have any savings now. And it's really difficult for a financial institution to do those small deposits. But these individuals can put together a savings account of $10 or $15 or $20,000, and if they do move from an employer, they can just transfer that to an IRA at their local bank. And so it ultimately even creates customers for the financial institutions. And we've been hearing that as well from the other states where we've been doing our research.
Yes. And again, this is an AARP Kansas bill that we're working with the state treasurer's office on to get into the legislature. We're looking at hopefully having it pass next session. It's not out there this session, but if you are interested in helping with the Work and Save program, please contact me at the email I'm putting into the chat, or at, okay, we've got that. It's in there twice. Let me put that on there. It's abozarth@aarp.org. If you are interested in helping with the Work and Save program, in talking to your legislators, and talking to business owners to let people know about this program, please get a hold of me at that email, and we will hook you up with the treasurer's office to work with them also.
That would be great, because we would love, as you go to coffees and events with your elected official, to let them know that there is a bill outstanding that we would love them to sign on as a sponsor. We'll be working with those folks over the summer. Hopefully we'll get a hearing next year to talk about it in both the Senate and the House. We want to really build a case for how important this is for Kansans for the long term.
Definitely. And it's a wonderful program. And if you've never worked on an advocacy campaign before, an advocacy issue, it's a lot of fun. You get to know great people. You get to learn much more personally how government works and how the legislature works. It's a lot of fun. Another question I have about this is, how much could Kansas retirement savings grow with a Work and Save program? Is it a lot?
It could be quite a bit. If we have 270,000 Learning Quest accounts, and those are just mostly kids under the age of 20. And so if we had our workforce of 2 million people offering this, and if 55% don't have an access to it now, I mean, we could have potentially 500 to 800,000 accounts if people were really serious about this, and even $1,000 a year for 20 years really adds up with the earnings that you can make. And again, these would be professionally managed, through investment services that you can be from very conservative investments to very aggressive investments, and there would be a team of people that you could call on and get advice from, in that regard. So it would be done right, and it would be done well. And when we talked with the people again from Oregon, I believe the number they had was just after a few years, they have several hundred million in the accounts. And again, when you think about how that money, when it's ready to be spent, that for the most part would be money that stays in Kansas and would help funnel and fuel our economy. So it has long-term effects as well.
That's great. And again, if you are interested in learning more about the Work and Save program that AARP Kansas and the State Treasurer's Office are working on together, go to www.aarp.org/KS and find out more. And especially if you are interested in volunteering to talk to your legislators and work with the Treasurer's Office and AARP to get a savings vehicle put in place through the legislature. And Lynn, again, our time has gone very quickly. Do you have any last words of wisdom you'd like to share with the group?
Well, I want to thank you for the partnership that AARP has with Kansans and the service that your organization provides. It's a great opportunity. I guess just one last time to remind people to check our website, kansasstatetreasurer.com or kansascash.ks.gov for any unclaimed property that they might have. I just looked at our system this morning for a group of people and found about $20,000 for about 40 different people. And you might have money here, your company might have money here. We want to get it back to you. So of all the services we provide, each one is important to Kansans. And again, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to serve as the Kansas State Treasurer. So
thank you so much, Treasurer Rogers. This has been a wonderful series. I really appreciate you, and I've learned so much about what the State Treasurer's Office actually does, and you're a great organization to be in touch with and learn from.
Great. Well, thank you. We've got great people. That's what makes it great to come to work every day. So,
well, thank you very much, and thank you to all of the listeners. Please join us again next week. Same time, same place, and we'll be talking to the Alzheimer's Association. Thank you very much.